patience is growing and growing, and our frustration is showing and showing. But yeah, we keep going and going. But it's family forever. We've done it over and over. Will we ever reach the end? How do we get through the night? Do we have to fight? Ever wake ourselves to start the winning night? Maybe we can redefine what it means to get in time. Now we take the chance to fly the fire we seek. We can make a getaway. Understand it's the end.
Alright everyone, hey, what's going on? So Ubisoft decided to release another game this year. Now this one is kind of what we've seen before, but with a little bit of a twist. Now, this is The Crew 2, and anyway, this has a lot of cool different features that the first one didn't have. Like, this one includes like off-road racing, and also includes races by the sea and like boats and speed jets. But another cool feature which I personally liked my best is flights by the air, so you can do some cool tricks and stunts and anything cool that you really want to do in your free time while driving through the world. So the main storyline here is you're basically a small driver that no one really knows. You're basically a nobody in the driving world. So, but what these guys do, they're called Live, is they find small drivers and they put on these big races to help, you know, get money and fame and stuff, but also it kind of helps the drivers get fame. So it's kind of a different aspect than what The Crew originally had, where it's just like escaping from jail. And quite frankly, I didn't see any cops throughout my driving at The Crew 2. But basically, you just drive for these guys and you try to increase your fame, so then that way you can be known and achieve higher ranks. So to begin, you got to start by choosing a character that you want. Now, of course, there's a different variety of characters you can choose from, and frankly, you know, I just didn't really know which one to choose, so I just kind of drew randomly. But if you have a personal preference, you know, that's okay. But then after that, you start the races, and the first race is different than the other races they have you do. Now, the first one has all three things you can do. So they have cars, like street racing, then they have by sea, and then they have by air. So they kind of give you a taste of what each of the three are like. Now, this is the first live race you do. These aren't the only ones you do throughout the game, but as you can see here, you know, I'm starting on the street racing, and I am not doing the best, but you know, it's okay because you can always restart it. This is the first race you do, you know, kind of get you introduced to the game, you know, familiarize yourself with the controls and stuff. And quite frankly, of course, the driving, I feel like it's a little more up-paced than what The Crew originally had. The Crew was kind of more like laid-back driving, whereas The Crew 2, their main purpose is for you to race. Like, the racing aspect has been increased a lot, so, which I thought was pretty good. But anyway, to get onto the flying is kind of like GTA flying, but a little easier maybe. So, you know, if you are used to GTA, or if you flew a little bit in other games, it's kind of like that. Nothing really too fancy. So after you do the first live race, then there's 4 different divisions that you can start from. So you got, you know, street racing, you got dirt racing, you got flying, and you also got, you know, boat racing. So you can choose any one of these to start. Doesn't matter where you go. But all these are basically the same thing. You each do the first race, which before you do the first race, though, they give you a person that kind of helps you throughout your whole time in that fraction. So, you know, for dirt racing, you'll have one person. For, you know, flying, you have a different person. And so, but each place has a different person you need to beat, like the king. They have a super fancy car or vehicle or whatever that you're probably going to want, but you're not going to get to the very end of the game. But in order to do it, though, you got to, like I said, start the individual races in order to even get into the fraction. So all of them are, you know, basically the same thing. You know, you try to beat a time or do this thing the best, so that way you can prove you're worthy enough to be in their fraction. Now, my personal favorite was the dirt racing, because just, you know, it was so fun to drive in the Raptor along the dirt roads and trying to beat the time, which it wasn't, all of them weren't really that hard because they made it easy for you to do things. But after you do this, then you just, you know, kind of they kind of introduce you to all the cars and stuff and the different tiers. Because in the tiers, they have you all start at the lowest tier, which is normally what each of the fraction is. So for boat racing, it starts with boats. For street racing, it's with street racing. But as you level up with fans, which fans are basically every time you do a cool stunt or finish a race, you get a small increase of people that follow you, and as that increases, you are able to then play different games and different races, and there's different tiers. So I mean, it's just continue playing, continue doing races, and then you'll keep leveling up so that you can play all the fancy races and all the fancy drivings and stuff that you could possibly want. Now I'm going to be moving on to the menus. So they have a whole bunch of different things. They have a catalog of the cars that are in the game. You can also manage your crew and your roster of your friends that are online. You can also see like how well you're ranking in all the different type of racings and off-roads that you have. There's some quick news that you can always catch up with what's the latest. This shows you your vehicles of what you have, and this is the coolest part that I thought, is that it shows you what you want to do next for each of the different trials, like for like flying and for dirt racing and stuff. And then you have the options, which is just normal. But the one cool thing that I did notice that were in that normally you see that you could go to each of the different fractions and buy your cars or vehicles from there. So right now we're in the street racing fraction, and we're looking at all the different vehicles that are in there. And I mean, you can always buy your cars from there. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you have a less variety to choose from, and it's more dedicated for that fraction. Or if there's something you're looking for inside of the menu option, is that there's all bunch of cars sorted by brand. So if you're like, man, I want a Ferrari, you go to the Ferrari section and you go find the ones you want. And I think that's really neat, because if you're just looking to cruise, or maybe even looking for one for a simple fraction, you can definitely find one that suits your needs and it fits for what you really want to do and what you want to find. Alrighty, so now I'm going to start to briefly talk about the house. So the house is located in Florida, and it's basically where you can help customize all your different vehicles that you have, whether it's colors or vinyls or whatever, that you crave. But another cool thing is that all the different parts that you collect from your races, you can come back here, or you can do it in the game menu, and you can upgrade them, and it's all different tiers. That's all lined out nice and perfectly for you. So the higher the number, the higher the tier. And you can do this for all your vehicles, that you can even explore, which is not really much to see. But you can go check out your different vehicles, whether it's the planes or the boats. And there's even more storage at top, which the home is not really something you visit frequent, because you can do a lot of the things from the game menu. But I mean, it's still a nice place to go because it's quick and easy to access, upgrading your car and coloring it and whatever you felt necessary to do. But with the home connected, it has a very nice thing outside, which it's your very own landing strip, which is very helpful, to take off and fly for wherever you needed to go. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to my next and final point, and that is what's always been known in the crew games, and that is free roam. Now, free roam is, like I said, it's taking it to another level with the crew 2. Not only, like I said, can you do just wherever you can drive, on the streets of the U.S., but you can now fly or go by sea anywhere you want to go. Now, I mean, you'd also, drive through the desert on the dirt racing, but I mean, this has really been taken to a whole new level. It is so much fun. I think I drove for like half an hour just trying to explore the whole map, and I mean, it's just such a good time. I mean, I didn't even turn on the radio because, I mean, it just sounded so beautiful and looked so nice. I mean, just like, listen to this. See, it just sounds too good to pass up. Sometimes it feels good not to listen to the music, because I honestly didn't find that much music I enjoyed in the crew. But anyway, thank you guys for watching my video, and I hope this helps you. Now, of course, I'll be releasing a tips and tricks video about the crew 2 and things you could learn to help improve yourself with the game. But alright, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. This is ShortyXBL signing out.